September 2024 housing update. And I'm here with my good friend, Randy Williams from TBF Mortgage. How are you, Randy?
Excellent, Mary. How are you?
Good. Well, Randy, what in the world on September 18th has happened today?
We've been talking about this day for about a year, haven't we?
We have.
We finally got the good news we've been looking for. You know, it was either going to be a 25 basis point rate cut or 50, and we got the 50, which is awesome.
Ooh, so what does that mean in interest rate?
It means amazing things. It means not just for mortgage rates, but also for credit card rates.
Yeah.
It also means for your car loans. And obviously, it's going to impact mortgage rates as well.
Okay.
So great economic news for everybody.
Absolutely. So interest rates are going to be what now?
They've already been creeping down, and we keep seeing these headlines of lowest it's been in 3 years and lowest.
Right.
Well, they already knew this rate cut was coming.
Yeah.
So we just expect them to continue to keep cutting.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's, on August 23rd, the Fed Chair Powell said his time has come for September cuts, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. So we know that the reason it is, Randy, really is about inflation. And we've been trying to get to this 2% inflation mark before the interest rates. It really took a drastic hit. So they wanted to get to 2.
Right.
And we're at 2.6, which is nothing. And that, that's wonderful because it feels like it's been, like you said, for forever. And then you've got the other thing, the unemployment rate rising, but it's still below the average. Mm-hmm. So it came up, the average for 50 years is 5.7 and we're at 4.3.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, Mary. I mean, inflation is a direct result of interest rates. Mm-hmm. So when the Fed has rates at 0, mm-hmm. the cost of that is going to be inflation.
Yeah.
The only way to counteract it is to raise interest rates until it balances out. So they've overcorrected.
That's right. Now, here's something else. Mm-hmm. What are most economists expecting this year?
At least 2 rate cuts.
At least, right? 73% said we think that's going to be 2,
right?
Which we're thrilled about, right?
Of course.
But what is Lawrence Yun saying from NAR?
Generally, the rate cutting cycle is not one and done. 6 to 8 rounds of rate cuts all through 2025 look likely.
Love that.
Yeah.
Keep coming down in 25. You've been talking about this for forever. When it starts, it will come down. But we won't get back to the 3% rates.
3% is not healthy. I mean, that's what most people think. It was great for all of those people that were able to get into the homes or refinance to really set themselves up for long term. But we were going to get massive inflation from that. And we did.
Yes, we did. And so when they look at mortgage rate projection and we go into, Q4 of 25, mm-hmm. It just keeps coming down from all the, main players, Fannie Mae, MBAs, mm-hmm. NAR's forecast, et cetera. Tell me what Jacob Channel is saying.
Timing the market is basically impossible. If you're always mm-hmm. waiting for the perfect market conditions, you're going to be waiting forever. Buy now is the only good idea for you. Agree 100%.
Right. If you same thing with the stock market. Let's face it. You can't time that market exactly when to buy and when to sell, but you got a season, mm-hmm. and the season is now, which is wonderful. Mm-hmm. So the market is balancing, and Randy, you and I have been talking in our seller seminars about this for a while, mm-hmm. Because in Southwest Florida, we are in a balanced market, maybe moving into a buyer's market. But the way you tell that is you look at the number of months. So, a seller's market is when things sell in 0 to 4 months. A balanced market is when they sell, on that 4 month plus to 7. And then we go into a buyer's market. And across the nation, which I love this slide, it talks about what happened in 10 when we were in the midst of a huge depression, recession, whatever you want to call it. It was taking forever, 12 months to sell a house. And then in 20, we were 1 month or less. Now it's coming back up, and a lot of it is less than 5 months. You'll see in the numbers, Randy, that I'm putting mm-hmm. From our market. We are higher than that. But you can see where this really kind of has come and gone.
Right.
So what is our friend Lawrence Yun saying?
Homes are sitting on the market a bit longer, and the sellers are receiving fewer offers. More buyers are insisting on home inspections and appraisals, and inventory is definitely rising on a national basis.
And appraisals are not bad. It was sad because I don't have a slide on it, but Randy, I think we talked about this a couple months ago. 78% of buyers didn't have appraisals, had to put in the offer, couldn't have any contingencies, are dissatisfied with their homes they bought in COVID.
I agree.
And by the way, 56% of those had mortgages in the threes. So if they're dissatisfied, they don't really care what their mortgage is. They're going to move.
Well, when the only people that can buy are the people in the upper echelon, because the first-time home buyers, they don't have a choice about the appraisals. So when the only people who can buy are buying that second and third and fourth home, again, that's not the best market to be in.
No, they were beating out that first-time home buyer by somebody that was paying cash for the most part. I mean, it was pretty crazy. So, homes are sitting longer on the market. This is a national chart. We'll show you the local chart when you stay tuned a little bit later. But, this is 5.3 months in August. And you can kind of see the ups and downs through that. But sellers are receiving fewer offers. So an example, this chart talks about in national numbers. In July, there were 3 offers, whereas now it's 2.7 for July of 2024. Again, hey, I don't see tons and tons of multiple offer situations, but I do see our homes that are selling fast. Now, inventory is increasing, and that is, current sales pace. We were having 4 months roughly across the nation, according to NAR. But, tell me what Hannah Jones is saying about this topic.
When inventory rises faster than demand, prices have to adjust eventually. Increasing inventory levels are a sign that the market is starting to balance out.
Yeah, which is great.
But here's the thing. So, yes, prices were either going to come down, and I don't think the Fed wants that to really happen. So what do? They cut interest rates.
Yeah.
When they cut interest rates, we have a whole new swath of buyers that are back into the market. And I think that will keep the prices where they need to be.
Well, and, when you think about that, and we'll have a chart in a minute.
Yeah.
Really, the prices really have not come down that much. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
So what does Mark Fleming say, who's at First American? The
faster housing supply increases, the more affordability improves and the strength of the seller's market wanes.
Yes.
True.
And a seller's market, hey, by the way, if you're a seller and you sold during that time, fantastic. That is amazing for you. And if you're looking to be a seller now, that's not bad because the interest rates are down. So the buyers are coming back. But buyers and sellers do need to be prepared. And, Lisa Strutvant, who's at Bright MLS, which is in the Northeast, really, we'll put her words in here because we don't want to read them all. There's several paragraphs. But what she's saying is, hey, we need to be prepared to negotiate. And on top of all that, you also have compensation that is in the middle of all this. So it makes the puzzle a little bit more interesting, I should say, where the pieces don't fit quite as they once did. So what is Freddie Mac saying about this?
Whether you are selling a home in a buyer's market or a seller's market, you should work closely with your real estate agent to find the best way to market and sell your home.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Because with your agent, you're going to walk through this very complex, things that we go through, hopefully easier. So pricing it right, Randy, this is so important when I sit down and talk to my sellers, when I go in for that first appointment, when we're really talking about the pricing strategies. And definitely home prices are moderating. So year over year, they came down. So in May, they were pretty flat, but as you see, we came back up. Again, this is a historical number for across the U.S. So in our market, we are going to hit high in April, May, and then we're going to come down, and August is going to be our number. But the goal of this is they will change. They'll change over a year depending on when your high season and your low season is. And if you have to sell, does it really matter when that is? I mean, you're going to sell because you want and need to sell, not because if you sell and it's lower, it's going to be lower somewhere else when you go to buy. So there's a benefit to that. But Lawrence Yoon has said again, go ahead.
Homes priced right are selling very quickly, but homes priced too high are deterring prospective buyers. Always.
Always.
Yeah.
And there's no market in any market where that's not the case.
Right.
Now, I do love this new graph, and I hope you guys do as well. So why pricing right matters? Well, if we're over, so it's the 3 circles here, and the part that's over the market value, when we price it too high, we sit on the market longer, we deters the potential buyers, our buyer pool goes way down, and price drops can even send the wrong message or I'm going to even add to that, Randy, sell under what it should. If you price it in the market price, fantastic. Understanding that market, there's some art and there's some science. So make sure your agent understands that and you feel good about that agent. But then undervalue. You're going to lose value. You decrease buying power for the next property. And then it deters the potential buyers because they think something's wrong. So really getting in that sweet spot is critical. Now I want to show you, Randy, I know we talked about this in our seller seminar, but this is a true example. I interviewed for the very important job of selling this person's house. I told them that the market value is about $3.2 million. Okay. They listed with another agent, top agent, but she tends to go higher. And she listed it for $3.85 million. That is significant. So let's talk about that. It came down for the first decrease. You can see there were 1, 2, 3, 4 decreases before it finally sold for $2.6 million. Now, guess what? If we had listed it for that $3.2 million, we would have gotten way more than the 23% off from that price that they got.
We've been doing this forever. And I know when you walk into a house, your client's best interest is always at play for you. But people are going to go in and overprice houses all the time. And the more you overprice your house, the better it is for the agent, not you as the client. Mm-mm. And it's always a hard thing to try to present to somebody, but some people get it and some people don't.
That's right. Some people you're going to want to go. Who wouldn't want to go? Basically that's a lot of money over what I told them that it was going to go for.
But look what happened.
Yeah. So pricing is so critical, and to understand that strategy is very important when you're selecting that right agent, whether you're in our market or any other market.
Yeah.
So, the U.S. News, read to us what they said.
Setting an unrealistically high price with the idea that you can come down later doesn't work in real estate. It's never worked. A home that's overpriced in the beginning tends to stay on the market longer, even after the price is cut, because buyers think there must be something wrong with it.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So as you go through that and you think about the number of price reductions is increasing. So this is across the U.S. You can see by this chart that it was around 182,000 back in January, and it's gone up to 330,000 in August. I don't have those numbers for our market per se, but that stands on the national number. Again, U.S. News and Real Estate says,
you want to sell your house for top dollar, but be realistic about the value of your property and how buyers will see it. If you've overpriced your home, chances are you'll eventually need to lower the number, but the peak period of activity, what a new listing experience is already gone.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's all those buyers that didn't find what they wanted to, and they're in demand, and those first 3 weeks are critical. They're critical.
Yep.
So let's talk about our market. Let's talk about sales price. Mm-hmm. You can see by this chart that there are 4 markets. We're looking at August compared to a year ago. So August over August over August is the most recent data. And you can see that in 22, some of them came down and some of them are still down. So let's take Cape Coral. They got hit with a storm. Mm-hmm. They came down in 22 of August, and they're about there. They're holding their own. They're not doing so bad. If you look at Fort Myers, the same thing. That came down. It's back up. Marco Island, same thing. Barrier Island, for the most part, came down in 22 because this happened in the end of, in 23. This happened at the end of 22. So in 23, it came down, and in 24, popped back up. And Naples has stayed pretty stable.
Yeah. So
prices have come down, but we sometimes have events. And when you look at the year over year for that month, it really kind of tells a story. I'm anxious to see what September tells. Average days on market. I love this graph because it's very visual. It tells you that, Marco Island, Randy, has 98 days in August. That was the last data we had on market, which is high. It's 3-4 months. We're seeing homes stay longer on the market again because they're not priced well, or they weren't priced well in the beginning, and then we have to make up for it. But you can see an average that we're probably in the 70s, maybe 75 or so, around there, days on market for all of our markets. And then, months of inventory, we said all 4 of these were really at a 6.2 months, which were moving into the buyer's side for a number of months of inventory for the buyer's benefit. But we're still pretty much balanced.
I mean, it's a market. They go up and they go down. That's what they do. And when you start to get too much inventory, we get some good news like the Fed gave us today, where we're going to be bringing new buyers back into the market. Not only that, but we get to come back for all the people that were really smart and bought in the last couple of years. And we get to lower their rates and set them up for long-term as well.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Which it all starts with you at home, right? At the end of the day, Randy and I can give you all this information.
Right.
But the news is great. There's product out there. There's time to shop. You know, we have this little window of time between now sitting on September 18th and the election where it's still a little funky.
Yeah.
And for the people that are willing to take funky is awesome because you know what? You get a better deal. And I love that because really people have been telling me for several years during COVID and beyond, the prices are going to fall. You don't know what's going to happen. You know, you don't know what you're talking about. We saw those values, and even after a storm, the values did not come down that much. And now look at where we are. So if you're thinking about selling, get your equity update. We'd be happy to do that. If you're thinking about buying, I can't think of a better time with a low interest rate, right?
It's always a good time to buy, especially where we are.
Yeah. So prices, interest rates, inventory, you can't go wrong. Until next time, I'm Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group of Premier Plus.
Randy Williams with TBF Mortgage.